Predictable bar.
Good evening, and welcome to another edition of that Millwall podcast. Joined by me, Mickey Simpson, that prick next to me called Omar, and we've got Frankie and we've got Zombie J. All of us are on for the big event. Must be something special happening. Maybe it's time to believe. I think that's where we go. I can't say too much more because I will ruin it for the curly-haired fella next to me. So. Without further ado, let's introduce everybody and say hello to the one and only Zombie J.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing?
They're not going to answer you, Jay. They're fucking viewers, mate. But yeah, everyone's saying hello.
They will. They'll say hello in the chat. Yeah.
That's it. Good evening, Frankie. How are you?
Not too bad, man. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, not bad. Go on in, prickhead. Off you go.
All right, Baldy. What are you saying? Go on, mate. You go on. You go.
You really are starting to fucking annoy me lately, mate. So yeah, go on.
I will do one better around the intro. How about that?
Language you don't usually hear on television. Millwall in London's Dockland.
No one likes us, but we don't care. We're that Millwall podcast. Loud every Friday night right here. Legends like Jimmy and Drew take a share in the kitchen or two. Superhero Harry's a fucking legend too. Through the good times and this life, we support the Lions all our life. This ain't no place for fancy feet. This is fucking Millwall through and through. Located on our very own John Ferguson way. Let them all come, let them have their say. Millwall till we die. With that Millwall podcast, loud every Friday night right here.
Well, there you go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursday Night Live with myself, Omar, Mickey, Frankie, and Jay, of course. We're here to talk about Blackburn away tomorrow, and obviously double treat for us this weekend. Millwall obviously won 3 on the bounce. We're back in the playoff talk. It's not really gone away. It's been ifs, buts, and maybes for a while, but nonetheless, Blackburn away tomorrow. Anyone making the trip up the motorway or on the train tomorrow, be sure to let us know. What's your thoughts, guys? Let's go to Mickey, mate. I'll come to you first because, I don't want you to get, upset or anything, mate. How are you feeling ahead of the double header this weekend, mate? Obviously, Blackburn away tomorrow and Norwich at home Monday, mate. What are you thinking? Ecstatic,
mate. We're going to get in the playoffs and we're going to play Leeds and knock them out.
You know what? I joked about it, Mickey, mate. I swear to God, you've said it probably about 3-4 weeks ago for a laugh, and you kept putting it out there. And I was like, didn't you, Frankie, as well? I was thinking, I don't know, I'm not sure.
No,
but
we're not having that, mate, because he also said Langstaff's getting 25 goals. I'm drawing a line right there.
You know what? Do you know what? Actually, right, someone in the chat will confirm this year that last year I said that Nesbitt will get 25 goals before the start of the season. We've done go back to the pre-season videos, right? If you haven't seen them, right? And in there, we're having chats where he scored I think he scored a hat-trick on one pre-season, didn't he? And he or a brace or so. And then I think he scored about 5 or 6 goals in pre-season. And I said, I'm telling you now, this fella's going to do 25 goals this season. And then fucking ruin. And there's a geezer on here what keeps going to me. It's going, don't say anything about our strikers, Mickey. Don't put any goals on our strikers because they won't do anything. You fuck it. Do you know what I mean? But listen, I think Nesbitt will be back next year, mate. I've got not Nesbitt. Langstaff will be back next year. I've got faith, mate. I've got faith. My bet is still safe.
They could do it next year.
My bet is still safe with Benjamin, so I'm all right.
Well, look, they both could be back next year. They both could be playing up front for us. You never know. And stranger things are happening, right? Leading the line in the Premier League at home to Man United.
Yeah, and it's quite funny. It's whether or not we managed to get Coburn as well, doesn't it? So, I mean, Middlesbrough could play hardball or decide to keep him or maybe only loan him back to us for another season. You don't know, do you? So,
or maybe you don't want to come back.
I think he does. I think he probably does, to be fair. I think it's more Middlesbrough playing hardball, to be fair, but yeah.
Well, go on then, Jay. Come to you next, mate. Do we believe? How are you feeling, mate? 3 wins on the bounce. We're still that. I mean, I spoke to you obviously after the Sunderland game. Kind of felt a bit. Well, we've blown our chance here, and they've turned up and done the business last 3 games. Will it continue into the weekend, mate?
I think you just got to hope it does. A belief is, you got to have belief. I said that you're in it until you're not. We are in it. It's kind of fitting and poetic that it's Blackburn who could end our season again. It's quite ironic, really. But look, you've got to believe that we've had injury problems, we've had change of manager, change of model, all the recipes to send the club into turmoil. We've rode the ship and we find ourselves in this position where we can make the playoffs. And yeah, long may it continue. I'm believing until it's unbelievable. And I'm making the trip up there tomorrow because I do believe that. Otherwise, if I thought the season was over, I wouldn't go. But it's it's what trying to be alive at the moment with all the issues we've had this season. It's nice that we're in this position that we're talking about some really good things around the club rather than the negativity we've had for a few years.
I think Steve Shilton is still confident, got the last 4 results correctly. I mean, I did say 1-0 to be fair last weekend, and I don't often get them right. But frankly, I mean, aside from a Marku scoring, I did have 1-0, didn't I? So just check that, right?
You did, mate, but I was going to mention the Marco who you said was going to score a goal and was probably worst I've seen him in a long time. He struggled, didn't he? So
his last few games have been appalling, to be fair.
But you did have 1-0, so great credit, Joe.
You have 1-0. There you go. How you feeling, Frankie? Anyway, mate, we've got 4 games left, and it's Easter weekend, double taste of Millwall, and it's quite exciting to look forward to it, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think, as you all said, it's an exciting time to be a Millwall fan, right? And if you can't get yourself excited for games like this, and you can't get up for an end of the season when you've got 4 games and you've got a chance of getting playoffs, you're in the wrong sport, right? You're never going to enjoy anything if you're not enjoying this. Do I think we'll win? I think Blackburn and Norwich are both games where we seem to never beat them, ever. So if we can get 6 points off them two, it will feel like it's a little bit symbolic, right, of a bit of a change in the club. And hopefully a win against Blackburn almost gets the monkey off your back from a couple of seasons ago. So big opportunity for the players, big opportunity for people that are in that dressing room to make it right. So yeah.
And we'll go early on the stats. I think it's over 45 years since we last done the double over Blackburn in the league. Just to throw that one into the mix. And the last time we went up there was 2012 in the league. I think it was the game where Henry and Chris Wood both scored absolute rockets, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's not a good
Were any of us alive for the last time we did double over him?
Well, Mickey, was you alive in 1970, 71, mate?
Prick. No. No.
Frankie was asking the question. I just wanted to bring you in to say if he was alive or not about that.
Frankie didn't. Do you know what I mean? Frankie didn't answer it, but he was more directing it to you than me. But Frankie looks quite swift with his new haircut, and as you ain't seen your barber for a fucking fortnight, so
I haven't. It's been a long time coming, mate.
Is it not skin fade week? Oh my no.
It's not. No, I'm holding off, mate. But yeah, my barber's left me, and it's devastating times, Jay, mate. I don't know what to do with myself to be honest, mate. But but I think we won in 2013 in the FA Cup. I think that's when Shittu scored the goal, didn't he, in the replay? Yeah. But last time in the league was 2012. And obviously it's not a good hunting ground for us, is it, Jay? And you're right to mention it's Blackburn of all teams. But then I kind of was talking to, obviously the squad itself, it has evolved a lot, obviously, since that time. But I'd argue some of the players that are putting in performances of late are the players that were still involved a couple of years ago. And I think that will be an incentive, maybe, the likes of Saville that came on the other day, at home and put performance in. Maybe it might be an opportunity to see him play. So we've got obviously 3 games in 2 days to contend with as well, haven't we? But I think the squad that were there from before will be very desperate to not put that to bed, but get one back over them in a sense and, put a nail in their coffin for their season because they're 4 points behind us, but still an outside chance. But it's an opportunity to put, the wrongs right in a sense.
Yeah, 100%. And look, you mentioned that a couple of players will have learned from that experience, but you've also got to look at the staff we've got in place now. Alex Neil's very experienced at this time of the season, dealing with this exact predicament. He's done it with Sunderland and he's done it in the Championship with Norwich to get them promoted. So he understands more than what Rowett understood last time we was in this position, but understood what this is like more than when Harris has been in this position, more than any Millwall manager really that's been in this position. He understands that. He will be key in keeping the players grounded. He will know some tricks of the trade to keep things ticking over. He's shown that in the last several games. No one's won more games than Millwall since Alex Neil coming as manager. So he clearly knows what it takes to play at the business end of the season. So he will be key along with your Coopers, your Savills, and even some of the youngsters who were around it, Billy Mitchells, your Danny McNamara's and players like that. They've been around this situation at that time, so they would have grown from it. Although Danny obviously not going to be there, but probably around the building. There's a wealth of experience there that they didn't have last time, and that could stand us in good stead, especially with a Blackburn team that, like you said, they're not in danger, they're not going up, but they're in a bit of turmoil with their management situation. Rumours that they could be hiring Wayne Rooney. I was quite gutted they didn't get that done before the game, to be honest, and give him a session at least. But they've come off the back of some good results, and Neil hinted at that and said, like, we're not going to go there and roll over. They went to Luton, they played very well at Luton. They have chipped in with some good results. So this is going to be tough. The crowd are going to be on their backs because they're going to want to finish strong. They're going to want to put performance in, and we've got to be wary of that. But the experience that we've gained and Neil's experience at this part of the season for previous clubs will stand us in good stead.
I think he's very right to mention it, Frankie. I actually read an article today on the South London Press. I saw that go around about Alex Neil, asked about the recent form and stuff. And he basically says, I wasn't aware of that until you mentioned it. He also went on to talk about social media and everything as such. And he says, if we win the game, then we know how it goes. If you don't win the games, then people don't want you or like you. That's just the nature of how things are on that type of platform. I dissuade the players from getting involved in those type of things because I don't think it helps. He said, I'm being brutally honest. You don't know any of these people who are writing the stuff. I'm not interested. And we're starting to get to know a bit about his character. I think it's quite obvious when you see Alex Neil and how he talks. But it was very interesting talking about his experience of being in this position. He doesn't seem to. He doesn't feed it in any manner, and not a lot of managers do anyway. But he seems to be very much like it's a game by game basis, and he's well travelled and well experienced at this level, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's quite candid in how he speaks. I think he's very calculated. He seems to be able to have a good mix of managing expectations, sort of managing the social media side, sort of downplaying some of that, whilst in the same breath, the whole time he's been here, he's done nothing but talk about the club wanting to do more, the ability to get into the playoffs, it's on to it's not, blah, blah, blah. Players needing to be focused. And so it does seem to be able to strike quite a nice mix of no one wants to have a manager where they're then turning around going, no, it's not going to happen, and just damping expectations, sort of killing it, do they? So I think he does a good job of sort of striking a balance there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Mickey, just on that, obviously about Alex Neil and his experience, but I found the words quite interesting, like some of the things he said as such. And he's just basically saying, I don't listen to any outside noise, and I don't tell the players to either, really. You can tell he's very much just like, he doesn't give a shit about anything else out there. He just wants to get a result on Friday, and that's a good mentality to have, isn't it, as a manager, I suppose?
Yeah, but we knew that really before even coming, didn't we? I mean, I think this is what, when we were sitting there having all the conversations before he's coming in, it's why I enjoyed the fact that he wanted to come for the job. And I just think that he's probably the most Millwall suited man for a job we never actually knew should be doing it, to be fair, because it's that Millwall mentality. Do you know what I mean? It's like, who fucking cares? Do you know what I mean? We do what we want to do, and who fucking cares? We've seen recently with certain events, which we're not going to go into because it just fucking grabs everybody and fucking everyone wants to fucking get involved and shit. But we've seen from certain events that, there are some horrible little cunts on social media who, sit in their mum's basement in their pants throwing death threats and fucking abuse around to people's wives and children, etc., etc., etc. And I get what he's saying. I think, listen, I get what he's saying. I've got 2 young kids. I've seen the social media influence over them. I mean, we're a bit older than that, and we don't take it as real life, but some people do. And I could see that players are very not what do you call it, but I could see that sometimes they get criticised from every angle, and pundits and newspaper articles and journos and all that lot. And if it's coming from every angle, and especially if people find out, their secret fucking Twitter or social media accounts, or they're watching what people are saying, it will get to them. So, I get it. And I think they have to have a Peter Sullivan. That's a funny fucker. I just think that, I think he's right. And I agree everything what pretty much he says every time he speaks, to be fair. I like him. I mean, we've been listening to the press conference, and we're now getting them on video, or the home ones for now. And we something what we've done with someone, and we'll be getting them for next season. But I think we've listened to most of the season, and I think it's impressive listening to him. I haven't heard him once say this player didn't do this player didn't do that. If we've lost, he always comes out and says, it was my fault. I set the players up wrong. I didn't set the team up right. I thought we'd be able to do this with this, but we couldn't manage it. Not enough time here, not enough time there, or this, that, and the other. And he comes out all the time. And I think that is lovely to hear, a manager actually taking responsibility in the job what he's paid to do, rather than sitting there going, well, that was a shit show, but it was down to Omar, really, because he fucking...
Everyone's fault but mine.
Yeah, and, Jay is like Alex Grace, who fucking, if there's 10 words to explain something, they use 300. Do you know what I mean? It's, I just think it's great. I think he takes it on the chin and he moves forward. And fucking long live the king, mate. Long live the king.
It'd be interesting to see what happens after he has, he's been here for a couple of years. You always find new managers refreshing what they say. I mean, Diggs here says, good manager. I was happy that he wanted to come to us. Good football brain. I think my criteria when I was thinking about Millwall managers that have succeeded is normally the characters, like the Jackets, obviously the Harris in his previous spells, and Mark McGee's, and people that are just proper characters. And he seems to be fitting that criteria in that sense, what I thought was important. And I think he doesn't take any prisoners, and that's very clear to see. I mean, it's interesting, obviously, this turn in form of late as well, guys. I mean, it has coincided with the return of Ryan Leonard as well, Jay. And I think his influence in particular, I think coming back into the right back position, obviously we lost Tanganga and then Crammer's moved across. But it's interesting, obviously, since Leonard's come back into the sides and started, we haven't lost a game. And I think we've won all three, haven't we? I mean, he came on as a sub against Sunderland. I think his importance, albeit he might have maybe not hit the same high standards as last season, it's been a welcome addition back into the right back position. And the two fullbacks, him and Brian, have just been remarkable, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been fantastic. And they suit what Alex Neil wants to do, where they need to have a bit of both about their game. They need to get up, but they also need to be defensively disciplined and not be scared on the ball. Whereas, under previous regimes, it's just smash it long or, and we want to sit a bit too deep. It's probably not Leonard or Brian's game. Alex Neil's been able to get the best out of the pair of them, and having Lenny back is just his experience, his quality, everything that he brings. His calm head, just he's such a big influence in the dressing room and within the stands as well. He's one of the first players that'll hit that crunching tackle that'll get the crowd going and stuff. So he's a big player for us, and it's great that he's back, and it's a nice problem to have that you've got players that can step in when players are missing and you don't look like you skip a beat. That's what good football teams do, and that's what we seem to be doing at the moment, especially at the back, because we're not conceding.
No, we're not. I think, 41 goals scored, 41 conceded, 42 games played. Frankie, I'll come to you on this one. I mean, obviously, Tanganga seems to be back in training from what's said online and in the press. Maybe not available tomorrow, but definitely available for Monday. It's an interesting problem for Alex Neil to have, isn't it, I suppose, in that back line?
Yeah, 100%, mate. And it's a problem that we've not had the luxury of having for a while, right? I mean, I don't want to talk ill of people that sort of have done a great job for the club historically, but you compare a potential Crammer or Tanganga off the bench to what we had previously. We're looking at a little bit over the hill, Hutchinson and Wallace, and it's chalk and cheese, isn't it? So it's a good problem to have. What he does, I genuinely have no idea. I think if I was, I'd be tempted to leave it how it is. Don't change your winning side, but it's nice.
Do you think it's weird, on those two players? Do you not think it's mad as well that those two players weren't really playing and they've suddenly come to us and they're both hit the ground running and phenomenal? I mean, Crammer was basically, I think, part of a deal with Stevenson, so again, cheap. And Tango, 3 Premiership clubs turned him down for his, for the alleged injury. And we took a gamble, wasn't really playing. And, and even with Crammer, he played a little bit in non-league, in lower league, didn't he, Jay?
To be fair to him, he was a mainstay for Exeter. And he was they was really, really upset that they let him go. That's a massive signing. That would probably prove to be the best signing that we've made outside of probably Ivanovic when the season's all said and done, because of how versatile he is, and for how cheap he probably costs as well. Like you said,
yeah, 100%. I mean, maybe something we can come on to at the end, because I don't want to throw our schedule off. But yeah, no, it was just mad to me thinking. It was just mad that you've got someone like Tango, who 2-3 seasons ago was being touted around on a Sky doc at 14, 15, 16 million pounds worth of player. And you got Kramer, who we got an absolute steal.
Yeah.
And, you know, Gallen, or, you know, whatever your thoughts are of him, obviously spotted this geezer and wanted to take the risk and thought there was something in him with others. And it's proved right, because these are two players. Let's be honest, we don't miss if one of the other ones are out of it.
Well, I think
credit to Gallen.
Yeah, with Kramer though, it's interesting because we think back to January. I actually dug up something from an old episode. A lot of what we were all saying was he's have to wait for his opportunity and we'll see what happens. But in Kramer's case, what he had is the opportunity to go straight into the side after Leonard and Danny Mack both got injured. And he took the opportunity with both hands, which highlights what the club's trying to do, really, isn't it? Give young players the opportunity, and then it's up to them to do the rest of it. And if they don't perform, then they have to wait, get back to the back of the queue, and wait again for their opportunity, isn't it? And I think that's probably more so. He's been fortunate of bad circumstances, Frankie, but he's come in, Kramer in particular, and just been undroppable, hasn't he? And that's what makes it a great headache to have, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be fair to Kramer, it'd been easy for him to come in. He's stepped up a level, not played many games as a professional in his career, particularly not in England. So then coming at right back, it could have gone a complete other way, couldn't it? He could have drowned out there, really struggled, and never really found his feet at this level and never really found form. We've seen that before. So it's maybe a little bit of good fortune that he was so good in that Cardiff game. But as you said, he's taken it for both hands, and I don't see where you can drop him. I think I'd be more likely to go to a back five than dropping him personally.
And he's never played right back either. Sorry, Jay, has he? I was going to come to you next, but Kramer's never played right back before this spell when he played earlier.
He played in the B team as a right back quite a few times. I covered him a hell of a lot with the fantasy because he's one of the top scoring fantasy defenders, and he is, as I said at the time, he is a John Stones. He is our John Stones. For me, his best position for us would be in a back five, with him as the central focus point, as that sweeper CDM, because he can get the ball down, he can play it from the back, he can pick a pass, he can run, he's got that energy, very much like John Stones. That's why he was pretty successful at right back, because he can travel with the ball, he's good on the ball, he's got good vision. I think that would be the best scenario with Tanganga, is to play him as a pivot in a back three with Lenny and Brian, probably their better positions being probably a bit more full-backish than right and left-backish, and go to a 5-2-3. That way you can get Coburn, Ivanovic, Matthews or Azeez or someone like that around that forward area. That way you can change the formation in-game. You can mix it up. You haven't got to take any subs off to change it about. It's a nice problem to have. I think ultimately Neil would like to go to a five at the back. I think it will suit us. I just can't see any team scoring if you put that back five out there. I mean, Joe Bryan's been a complete revelation under Neil. Lenny is Lenny, and you got Tanganga, Cooper, and Kramer. I mean, that'd be hard to beat in any division, in my opinion, the way on current form, you know. So it is a real nice problem to have. But like you said, I think Tango is probably more of a Monday looking and see what happens tomorrow, to whether it be more experimental Monday or we have to make a bigger decision.
Well, the question here from Andrew Roberts, given the choice, like Tango or Kramer, I don't think it's necessarily as much of that's the choice. Yeah, it's like you mentioned, it could change things a bit. I think also we've got to remember Leonard, Jay, as well. He's just come back from injury. I was just singing his praises, but I wonder if there's maybe a bit of Kramer plays right back at home to Norwich if Tanganga's available, because you want to protect Leonard maybe as well, you know, because he obviously played a lot of games, come back, played 96 minutes at Sheffield United, played at the weekend, and maybe there's an element of, okay, you don't want to risk making too many changes, but also you don't want to risk losing these players, especially if we do, for example, proceed into the playoffs. You want to have Leonard available, and maybe it's managing the players' minutes somewhat as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think Leonard is going to be key in the running if we do beat Blackburn tomorrow. And I think you're right. I think he'll look to make probably one or two changes, not too many. I imagine Tango would come back in the fold and Crammer would go out at right back if that's still to play for, because like you said, it's a big ask for Lenny to do that when he's healthy. We all know that, let alone when he's just come back from a big injury. But I agree.
I've put it on YouTube anyway as a chat. I've put the vote up for Crammer or Tango, just to see what people do. A little bit of interaction there. Get your thoughts on it. So if you're on YouTube, vote.
Go on, Frankie, mate.
Just a quick question for you boys, really, and anyone in the chat as well. We obviously had a question last week around Player of the Year, and with that conversation, I went the North, so I'm going to put myself in this boat. But do you think we've all become a little bit desensitised to how good Tanganga actually is and become a little bit blasé about it?
100%.
If we're being honest, there shouldn't actually be a question of Tanganga starts. He should be the first on the team sheet.
100%, which is my point. Which is my point to the whole thing about picking Denora over Tanganga. I think he's important. I think Crammer, though, has highlighted that he's more than capable, which is you've got to give Crammer his due for that.
100%.
But Tanganga is levels above, I think, most of the division at centre half.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And
I agree.
He's formed dips maybe when Lender got injured, but in my opinion, he's formed dips from a 9 out of 10 every week to a 7 out of 10 every week, which is still more than enough.
He is a Premiership player, but it's no one wants to take a risk for any sort of money in the Prem, because the Prem is going to be it's more intense than the Championship, and unfortunately maybe the Championship is going to be his ceiling now, or maybe a Bundesliga or something might be his ceiling, but I honestly don't know if he'd be able to do.
I think the opposite.
You pulled him up on his knee.
But
Mickey's point is about his knee. That's what you're trying to get at, Mickey, isn't it? But then he's proved it since coming on loan last January that he can stay fit. And maybe you're right to say about the Premier League.
But Premier League's a different speed, isn't it, really?
But maybe you could say he'd have a bit more time.
Strikers don't run channels anymore, mate. Strikers don't do anything. It might be the easiest league to defend in the world at the minute. Like, has there ever been an easier time to be centre back in the Premier League?
Oh yeah, that's true. And the Championship is Tuesday, Saturday every week. It's 46 games before you even kick the ball, as opposed to 38 in the Prem. But the thing with Tanganga is not that he can stay fit. We know he can stay fit. It's the fact that he has this issue with the fluid in his knee, that the risk of injury is high. He could stay fit for 4 years if he wants, but the risk of him getting injured is a lot higher than someone who doesn't. And teams just don't want to take that risk, that they front him all this money, they invest in him this much, and then that chance of him just walking out the door and he's injured. It's not that he can't stay fit, it's that the risk with him being injured is high. And I think that's the worry, because there's no question he can stay fit. He's proved that, but he is a risk. He's a big risk, and that falls into our favour, because I'd love to keep him.
100%. I personally, which I don't think it will happen, but I would like to keep him and offer him the captaincy for next season. But
I agree.
But if you speak to people, he's great on the pitch, but he's not like that off the pitch. So then you've got to look at what is a captain. Captain needs to be some on the pitch, some off. Yeah, allegedly. But, the same on and off the pitch.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Mickey, because you look at the end of season when he's getting thrown in the air. Tanganga, he looks quite reserved and he's a bit old back. And then you look at Cooper. Cooper's at the front. Cooper's at the front of the jolly up. He's the one geeing everybody up. Maybe Cooper's the captain we don't see, as opposed to on the pitch. He's different. Maybe Cooper is that guy.
Cooper, when I interviewed Cooper did say, when we done an interview with him the other week, Cooper did say that he's loving having Leonard around, because he does the captaincy off the pitch when he's not there. So
that's fair.
He does it on the pitch.
I think you're right to mention Cooper, though, because I think even in the chat, a lot of people say, I think someone said earlier about they'd rather play Tanganga there and get rid of Cooper from the side. I think Cooper has just been an unsung hero of late, and I think he's also like his performances. Cooper, he's really stepped up. I feel like the second half of the season, to be honest. And everyone always talks about Tanganga or Crammer recently because it's the new hot topic. But I do think we take Cooper for granted sometimes, Frankie. I don't know what you think. I think
we said that the other day, didn't you?
I do, honest. I think Cooper he's someone that goes. I think we'll appreciate him when he's gone. What is he? 7th all-time appearance record. Been here, mainstay. always fit. Even when he's injured, he's finding a way to be available and fit for selection. He done his dislocated his collarbone or something, didn't he? In COVID, and was back 2 games later. Like, I think he's going to be appreciated. He's underappreciated, Cooper. I think, for me anyway.
I think I said this last week. He's one of them for me where I know I do this and I know I'm guilty of it. But when I'm watching him on a Saturday, I feel like I do nothing but have my heart in my mouth and waiting for him to make a silly mistake or pull someone back or do something like that. Yeah, if he's uninjured, I'm then shitting myself, and because you're panicking, he's not going to be there. So I do underrate him. I know I do. I think it's because he just looks a little bit cumbersome, if that makes sense. But yeah, he's a good player.
He's the sort of player though. Like, you're right to say, like, you're waiting for him to make a mistake, but if you make his role very simple, like, and you just tell him to defend, there's not a lot better than him, I think, at doing that.
I think it's what you said the other day, which is on TikTok, to be fair, where you turn around and said Cooper's one of those players that you're not going to actually realise what player you had until he's gone. And when he's gone, you're going to be sitting there going, fuck, what a player. Because let's be honest, I mean, you know, when we were speaking to him, and I did some research before, you know, he got spotted in a kids' game at Reading. And you know, literally the Man United scout, he said, you know, the Man United scout phoned up Reading and said, there's this young kid what plays near you. Why the fuck haven't you signed him? And signed him. And then obviously he played, and then, you know, Jack Stam come in and basically went, yeah, you don't fit my style and all of that. Nothing, you know, nothing more than that. And then he come to us, and the rest is history. But Reading would take him back in a heartbeat. Reading fans absolutely love him. And that's mad for a player which says bundles about a player. And I mean, he was lovely. He was great. He was great on the show. He was great. He was open. Yeah, he was great. You know, he's a nice bloke. And I think that's the difference now, is that most of the players in the team currently seem down to earth, nice people. And they seem to stick with stuff, bits and pieces, what I've heard, bits and pieces from me and Omar I've been talking about. And all. It seems to me that this team is fucking solid. Do you know what I mean? If it's literally, it's the Millwall mentality. You come after one, you come after all, and we stand and we fight together.
Well, let's go a little bit of a tangent. You're right. Let's go on a little bit of a tangent there with that. Everyone's talking about the players out of contract this summer. The players you're talking about are probably mostly out of contract this summer as well, right? That's fair to say. Do you risk? You obviously some have to naturally move on, Mickey, but do you risk then? Say for example, Honeyman, Saville, Cooper, like these players that we're talking about. Cooper's under contract, but what I'm trying to get at is like these players that are experienced and they're still move away. If we lose some of these players, do we risk that changing, Mickey, over time? Potentially. Who's the next players to come through afterwards?
I think that right now we've got to take all emotion out of it and look at potentially those players what are out of contract are, you know, on a rough guess could be clearing up maybe 3 to 5 million on the wage bill per year, and that 3 to 5 million could be creating a pathway through for some of the new youngsters what can't get in a minute, or it will let us bring in some more talent like Crammer, like Tango, etc., and set us up for the next 3-4 years. Because let's be honest, right? The playoffs at the moment's a dream, but we're aiming for next year, the year after. You know, Mark Fairbrath would come out and said, you know, 2030, we want to look towards the Prem. And if that's the plan and that's the strategy, then we need to make sure that we've got players, because what we don't want to do is fill the team with 28-year-olds and we get to the Prem in 2030 and everyone's on a Zimmer frame. So, you know, I think it's look, find, and Gallen we trust, Alex Neil we trust, the scouts we seem to trust, as much as personally I've taken the piss out of them, the ex-postman and ex-this and ex-that. But listen, learning a bit more of how they do things and what they do, I think it's fucking well organised, mate. And it's very modern.
Contract as well. Was it Murray Wallace, George Honeyman, Sean Hutchinson, Duncan Watmore, Wes Hardman? I've got the link. Billy Mitchell, I think, is rumoured to be out of contract in the summer. Also, Aaron Connolly, George Saville, Danny McNamara, and
Is
Joe
that,
Bryant.
is that the list what we were talking about before? Yeah.
That is the list, mate. Yeah. So, Frankie, I mean, we're on to this topic now, but like when you think about them, and also Mickey talking about the point about the togetherness of the group, how many of them would you keep, and does it risk disrupting if more than half go, for example?
I've got a bit of a question for Mick, but I'll answer your question first, mate. How many do I think we'll keep? I'm just looking at what Dan's put in the chat. I think Brian stays. I think Honeyman stays. Billy stays. Sav stays. I think I think there's 9 on that list. I think at least 5 probably stay. I think that's the right thing to try and keep the balance of the squad. We made a point earlier. I'm not saying you're wrong, by the way, mate. I think it's just interesting because we talk about how good a dressing room it is. At times, whether that be under Edwards or early this season, after we threw away 2 points at home against Cardiff, we questioned this dressing room and said they might all be mates and they might have a good harmony, but is it challenging enough? Is there enough? Are they demanding enough of each other? You know, we question the dressing room culture on this podcast when at times. Is there a bit of a degree there of, well, yeah, they're all mates, they're all happy when they're winning games and they're chasing playoffs, but when push comes to shove, that we have seen another side of this group, haven't we? Let's be honest.
Little fucker, you're fucking aiming that at me, you little prick.
I
remember the shows with going, yeah, but Mickey, we need a little bit of fucking, you know, country to fucking in the dressing room. We can't all be fucking thinking. And I agree with you. And I think that since Alex Neil has been in, there's a difference. There's a different mentality on the pitch. And I'm not saying that what Neil did is wrong. I just think he had a different mentality. He had that backs to the wall mentality last year, whether or not, you know, whoever you listen to, there was, you know, promise of, you know, most people were going to get a new contract or this, that, and the other if they stayed up. And unfortunately, what went on in the summer just fucked up that whole plan. And then we had, you know, the unprofessionalism and fucking media circus come off after it. But since Alex Neil, there's a different level of mentality. Tell me one game where their heads have fucking gone down. Tell me one game where they haven't stopped giving it till the 90th minute.
Go on, Frank.
When? Plymouth away, mate.
I'd argue as well. I thought they were on the beach at Sunderland, but then they've come back the last few games, and yeah, that's gone out the window. I mean, yeah, it's interesting, and you're right to mention it, I suppose, Frankie, because it is a criticism often aimed at the players. They've been here too long, or overstayed their welcome, or maybe they're too friendly with each other. But I think they're quite demanding of each other.
I think you need to take out those players. I think you need to go. Danny Mack has to be looked after by the club as a matter of fucking respect. He's injured, on the verge of being out of contract. They need to give him a deal. You know, whether that's slightly less than what he's on for playing, but give him a deal so he's financially sorted, and then look and reassess him towards the end of it, and maybe give him a paper play or whatever, because we don't know if it is a career-ending interview. And Danny Mack is a fucking a nice fella with a young family who doesn't need any extra stress. So just sort him out, do the right thing like we do, and move forward. Player-wise, don't know. You look at the players and you go, take Danny out, put that thing back up again where the other players are. So I would say Wallace, thank you, no more. I would say Honeyman, or I'd say Saville, thank you, no more.
Interesting.
Because I just don't think he's got the legs anymore. I would say Honeyman and what more probably, thank you. Honeyman, could he give us something? Could he get another year? Brian under Alex Neil is a slightly different player now. There's something different to him. He seems to be enjoying his football for someone who doesn't like football. And Wes, I think Wes is a fantastic fucking squad player who has been treated like shit over the last while, being dropped, being fucking not played, being permanently left out. And yet when Alex Neil goes to him and says, I need you, his head's up, he's on it. Do you know what I mean? Lovely family. We met his family at QPR, I think it was, when it was Watford.
Yeah.
And they're lovely. I mean, his missus wants to stay down here rather than go back to Rotherham. But we were giving her, Omar was giving her shit, going, where's the shops better, Rotherham or down here? But no, look, I think out of that list, Brian, I would question maybe what more. Maybe Billy definitely has to stay. Honeyman, I'd probably say thank you. What more I'd say bye. Honeyman, I'd probably think. Billy has to stay. Wes, I would probably offer some form of a deal. Saville, I'd probably offer some form of a deal within coaching, maybe. But I just don't think he's playing. I think he'd be taking up a place for someone else. Wallace, I think his legs are gone. You've been doing the referee course. Jog on, off you go. Go do some refereeing. Thank you for your service, but I think it's now, it's a new era at Millwall. Hutch, I think Hutch should never have come back, to be fair. And Danny has to be looked after as a matter of loyalty.
Just to give my ones, I'd offer Brian an extension if it's available. I'd get rid of Watmore. With Honeyman, is it Honeyman or Saville maybe, or do we keep I personally would keep Saville around. I get where you're coming from about his legs, but then the impact he had on the game on Saturday when he came as a sub,
100%.
He helped change that game a bit for me. He came in. He did.
Second balls he went.
Exactly. He came in and he got on the ball, put his foot on it, and also was first to everything in that midfield. He doesn't do it over the course of 90 minutes anymore like he probably used to, which is probably to your point, Mickey, about his legs, right? But
yeah, I mean,
let me finish my point. I done a show with Ben the other day, and what Ben raised was maybe that was the role Saville was meant to have all this season, but because of Billy Mitchell's injury, he had then got thrown into it. So then maybe you think, if you think Denor, Mitchell, one other midfielder, and Saville as your four for next season, so the one more would be someone coming through or someone that we pick up from the market somewhere, then you think, well, you could see a place for Saville in that squad, I think, personally. And then the rest of the players...
You've got midfielders there already, haven't you? You've got Kelly, who's a box-to-box midfielder, and you've got Will.
Wintle is on loan, though, isn't he? I think he'll probably end up at the end of him. I think with Harding, I think he's still of an age where he's not 30, 33, 34, is he? So he's probably going to want to get a contract somewhere and play week in, week out.
Before, though, so yeah, I think he can still play in the Championship.
It'll be different when he's a free agent, though. It's not. It's different, isn't it? So there will be clubs out there that will take him. League One, maybe. I think. Would he want to stick around? I don't know.
Can I just ask you a question? And I've got no idea what his money is or whatever, so I'm just going to play devil's advocate and make a number here. But is Saville worth £20,000 a week to not be playing every game?
Well, no, his role will naturally change as a result, and therefore will be on less money. But it wouldn't be 20. But I know you're playing devil's advocate.
Surely he's not even half of that.
Don't know. I'm not sure what our wage bill's £20 million a season, isn't it? So it probably would be a fair whack. And he came back from Borough, didn't he? So who knows? But he would be offered the role more. He'd be offered a wage befitting of the role he'd play. So he's not worth He wouldn't be a starter anymore. He wouldn't be the mainstay in the midfield. So you'd expect his money to come down. So I mean, Jay, we'll come to you for a little bit.
Paper play maybe with him.
What maybe? But Jay, what about the list there? Who would you keep and who would you get rid of out of interest, mate?
I'd give Brian, Saville, Wes, or 12-month team-friendly deals. I'd give Connolly a 12-month rolling. That's team-friendly. That's easy to get out of with incentives. That if he plays up, I'd have some written literature in his contract. They're the four that I'd look at to lock up for the short term for turnover issues, because we need to build a squad over a period of time and not decimate it and try and build it. I'd give Billy Mitchell a 2-year with an option, so essentially a 3-year deal. I'd look after Danny, obviously, and I'd say goodbye to Watmore, Honeyman, Wallace, Hutchinson. And then if I was going to field offers for players, I'd probably look at sending Massey, Kelly out on loan. Kelly, we have no idea what Kelly needs to play football before we can even consider him coming into the first team. He needs to play some form of sustained level of football, and he just hasn't done that. So I would look at getting him and Massey out on loan, and then I'd field offers for Macaulay Langstaff and see what we can get for him. That'd be my approach this summer, and I'd look at the midfield.
your fucking eyes are affecting your brain. You can't fucking.
Mickey,
We're not going to get rid of Langstaff.
Langstaff is not going to play games next season. He's not.
We need to listen. We need to at least give him some games to play to build his confidence, and then go. Oh, Garen,
he's played 32 games this season. He scored 1 goal. He ain't going to get in. If Coburn comes in,
but he's played games, right? And he was being played games. What it weren't suited for what the position. 100%. I might as well fucking play you in goal with the entire goalkeepers of every fucking football team in the country in goal. You ain't going to score a goal for love nor money. I could give you a fucking cannon and you still wouldn't score a fucking goal.
But
do you know what I mean?
He ain't going to get in over Langstaff. He ain't going to get in over Coburn if Coburn comes in. Nisbet's going to come back with a fresh look at from
Nisbet's not fucking coming back at all.
Nisbet's coming back. Neil's already said it. Neil's already said he's coming back and he's going to have a fresh start. And he's scoring goals for fun at the moment.
Did he say it bang on that way though with Nisbet? But I think with Langstaff, just to check quickly.
Langstaff,
I'll have a bet with you. I'll have a bet with you. I'll have a bet with
contract anyway.
No, I'll have a bet with you that Langstaff does nothing next year, and that he will eventually leave. I'll have a bet with you.
But with Langstaff as well, before we get the betting as well, I think the manager gave him a damning indictment when he didn't start him on Saturday. He put it right at half time, and Langstaff affected the game, you could argue. But he was fit and available to play, and he chose to play Marco instead.
He's not going to be a hit at this club. He was a risk worth taking, 100%. For that fee, for someone who scored that amount of goals, you have to take that risk. And I applaud the club for doing it. But it's proved to be too much of a big step for him.
I don't think it did. No, I don't think it was too much of a proof of a big step. I think what it was is that someone sat there at the beginning of the season and told all the fans at the Fans Forum that he has got so much natural talent and he is probably one of the only players what will probably beat my scoring record, etc., etc., etc. And then went and fucking ripped the confidence out of the poor cunt and fucking left him sitting in the shadows. That is the problem. Unfortunately, the early part of this season, we fucked the confidence of so many players that fucking, unfortunately, some of them haven't managed to come back for it. Some of them have, and some of them are going forward, but some of them haven't. And I think we need to rebuild over the pre-season, and then those who can and go. And Nisbet, mate, Nisbet is on fucking ridiculous money because we signed a ridiculous deal for a fucking attitude motherfucker, allegedly, who can just rot up in Scotland, mate.
I'll have a bet with you that Kevin Nisbet has more of an impact next season than McCall Langstaff.
I'll take a bet with you if you want, that you'll be fucking working with Fat Dan next year rather than here if you want.
I won't. I'll take that bet as well if you want. I'll take both bets. I'm telling you.
Because your football opinion's very similar.
I'm telling you.
I'm just going to read some comments here. Langstaff, not in the same league as Coburn and Ivanovic from John Park.
Not even close.
He's come back from injury, says today, I guess, in retaliation to not starting last week. But I'd say Leonard came straight back in and played. So, listen, if he's important enough, if Alex Neil deemed him important enough, he would have started on Saturday. That was his opportunity. Exactly. He chose to play Marco. I'd give Langstaff his due, though. He came on and impacted the game. Probably should have had a penalty shot straight after the second half time. And he did make a difference, I think, when he came in. So, look, maybe Neil got it wrong when he did say as much after the game. David Hurst says Langstaff's 28 years old now.
He ain't going to get much better. If anything, he's going to start getting worse.
Daily Mill says no chance. Nisbet's gone. I feel we need a decent striker with pace up front. Jesus says Connor. Steve says Mickey is still pissed. Is pissed, lol.
I'm not pissed. I've just listen. I think that we didn't do right by him, and I think that's the problem. I think if we'd have done right by him and played a system what he was used to playing and where he come from, and you'll know the system where he's playing, Jay. You fucking all over the shit football side of the football league, mate. And it was, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do. I agree with you.
And if he'd have played, in the position, if he'd have played how we'd done from the beginning of the season, and actually rather than all the bollocks of, trying to prove a point, that shit. Look at the Serb. Oh, he's shit. Well, fucking hell, Alex Neil's getting a fucking song out of him. Do you know what I mean? So, I think
I'm just throwing there as well. Chris Brown. So what was
that was going to be my next point.
He'll come in next. He'll come in.
You've got Matthews as well. What about Matthews? We've invested in Matthews. He's younger. He's only going to get better.
For 21.
That's what I'm saying. Langstaff's age and his experience at this level is going to really go against him next season with Coburn, Ivanovic, Matthews. I do like Langstaff. I actually think his best position is out wide.
So do
in
I.
a 4-3-3.
Well, we've never played him in.
No, he's ridiculous there for Notts County. He actually done well when he come on against Borough. He took more of a wide role and did stretch it a little bit. I think he's good there, but
And he played wide when he was at Gateshead as well.
Yeah, and he was successful. I just think the signings we've made.
League, mate.
Before we move on, can I just say, for the person who me and Omar watches, I'm okay. It's these two cunts, okay? Do you know what I mean? Just
I like the geezer a lot.
Just remember, when if we do meet up for that beer, what we're promising, I'll bring these two. Don't worry.
I know you're talking about it's fine, but I've got no problems. I like the geezer. I like the geezer. I really do. I'm buzzing with the signing, but you have to look at things realistically. And his age, his production, and what we've got and what we're trying to do. He's just down in that pecking order, and it won't be us. It'd be him that looks at his own career and goes, "I'm 28 now. Do I want to sit here and do this?"
Do you know what I find really funny with that last comment from you, Jay? Is that you have to look. You are so negative most days in the group chat, and then you're saying, "I've got to look at realistic in life and all that." Listen, I think Nesbitt could do a job if he's played in the right position. The problem is we haven't done it, and he is a striker with low confidence. I tell you now, he gets 1 or 2 goals on the bounce or gets 1 or 2 goals, he will start coming back.
It may be.
Coburn might not come. Huh?
You said Nesbitt.
I meant Langstaff.
I'm correcting it.
I'd like to see it. I really do, because I was excited by him. I think he's got so much aggression about him. I really would love to see it, but
let's move on. Let's move on.
Can I sign off on Langstaff quickly?
Well, yeah, go on. I don't think we've signed off, mate. It's going to come back. But go on, you make your point. Then I'm going to question.
He did himself a lot of favours the other day.
Yeah, he did.
He made a difference. And I think with the manager we've got now, he's got 4 games to give himself a shot for next year.
Well, this is the problem, though. Is he going to get the opportunity because we're playing for something, and that's the thing.
He will. At some point, there'll be another Middlesbrough situation where you're chasing the game and you've got to. So
4-3-3 would be nice, wouldn't it? To get all 3 of them together.
He did say that. And wait 1 second. We'll on the next question anyway, because before we move on to Blackburn tomorrow, we signing Coburn. Then you don't think we are, Mickey? No.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if we are or not, but I think it's not as easy as what we see, and I think Middlesbrough will play around. But let me put it this way: if Coburn, if we could get Coburn for 1.5 million, then I would go, yeah. If Middlesbrough want anything above 2, I would say no.
Steve Chilton said, I think Borough want 3 million for Coburn. I don't think Coburn will be at Mill next season. Borough lost Latte Laff in January and they see something in him. I think Carrick actually doesn't rate Coburn at all, to be totally honest. From what I've read,
Coburn doesn't actually want to leave the North East either. He's very outspoken about that.
Well, no, you say that. He's done his rehab at Mill for both his injuries, Jay, which is typically for a lone player.
If he's injured, probably.
Well, if you say you're going to North East, though, Jay, just to challenge that, Mickey, 1 second, please. If he wanted to be back home, he would have gone home for his rehab, I could say to you.
Yeah, but he stayed there because he's mates with Langstaff and shares with Langstaff and 2 North East boys who grew up in the same sort of patch. So why the fuck aren't we playing them together when they're good off the pitch? Live together on our pitch.
I believe he doesn't want to leave.
Yeah, can we leave the Langstaff thing anyway? But Jay, you think he doesn't want to leave? But
he doesn't want to leave it. Yeah.
Can we make a bet right at the end of the show? Yeah, you both think about it, and when we come back to the end of the show, we'll make that bet what you guys are going to do. Right? Maybe in the name of charity somewhere, but we'll make a bet.
We'll do it into the Win Trust. Yeah,
exactly. But we'll come back to it at the end of the show. Yeah, let's move on from Langstaff, and let's say Coburn. Are we going to sign him or not, Frankie? Do you reckon in summer?
No, I think that they'll want too much money. I think the Carrick situation at Middlesbrough will just make it even more harder because I think he'll probably get the chop at the end of the year and they don't get playoffs. So I think with all them things considered, I can't see that move materialising. And I do wonder if you then start getting into around the 2 million mark, are there better options in Europe? You look at what the Serbs done in a couple of months, and you think, if you can get someone a bit more experienced in a Scandinavian league somewhere or in Italy, whatever, go and get them.
Even up the road at Preston. You
know what? I'd even go. Me personally, I'd even go as far as 2.5 million for Coburn. I think there's a player there.
With the injuries.
That's the injuries is the question mark. But I think Coburn, 21, 22 years of age. You saw his goal against Sheffield United. You've seen glimpses of him. Derby away, where he got the goal right at the end, despite missing the penalty and stuff. There's a player in Coburn that I think we'd be silly not to try and take for up to $2.5 million for me personally.
That's a lot. Yeah, but think about it. $2.5 million. What's his wages as well?
Yeah, I like it.
Realistically, say he's on 10, 15 grand a week. I mean, that's a fucking lot of money to take a risk if he's in, if he gets injured or, if he's out and he. But I agree. I don't necessarily think that now that the Serb is playing like he is. I think Alex Neil's switched and gone. Actually, Coburn might not be the big fry what we need. And if he's bringing back Nesbitt, what you lot are saying, then maybe he sees Nesbitt in the Serb.
Well, I think with Coburn in particular, though, I think also Alex Neil sees a player in him from what he said about him in press and stuff like that. I think Alex Neil thinks there's a lot of potential to get out of Coburn. Again, it's keeping him fit, but I think there is a lot to be more to come from Coburn. Quite clearly, his age dictates that, but I think there is someone in there that I'd go as far as £2.5 million, to be honest. And as Sammy Freeze has just commented here, are you going to do a podcast on Sunday? We will be doing a live show Sunday.
Yeah, I like him. I think he suits us.
From church.
Well for us. From church, yeah. I think he's played well for us. He's young, you can do a lot with him. Neil really, really does like him. But everything that I've read and I've heard from people is that he does not want to leave permanently from the North East. I do agree with that with Frankie that Carrick will get tinned at the end of the season if they don't make the playoffs, or at least make a run in the playoffs. And I think that Borough or the new manager will view him as an asset, as someone that they can get a similar tune out of. So yeah, I don't think he'll end up here. And if it's a choice between, Nisbet having that revitalised career at Millwall under Neil or Coburn, Nisbet doesn't cost anything at the moment, and that's £2.5 million. If that's the asking price that we set, that's £2.5 million that could be spent on a nice new shiny left back, or it's money that we need to save.
Nisbet's on big money.
He might be on big money, but we're not paying anything. We're paying him not to play for us. You might as well pay him to play for us at the moment, because I don't think you're going to get Coburn money in return.
I think you'll find that we're paying quite a lot of the fucking loan fee.
That's what I'm saying. We're not paying. We're paying Nisbet to play elsewhere at the moment. I don't mind what we're paying Coburn at the moment.
Yeah, we're paying Coburn as well.
Yeah, so, I don't mind that, because he's playing it. He's contributing to this. He's contributed 6 points in 2 recent games for us. He's won 6 points for us. But I just think we brought in Matthews, we brought in Lovelace, we've got Langstaff, Nisbet, Ivanovic. £2.5 million on a luxury striker. I don't think we need it.
Lovelace was a bit of a weird one, but I think there's probably more to that. I think he probably realised that he should have stayed with us in the first place and not moved. And it is what it is. But
if they want £2.5 million, I'm not paying it. I'll pay 1.5.
I don't think. Yeah. Go on, Frankie. Did you actually ask me the question you wanted to ask me as well, by the way? Or was that just to dig about? Yeah, earlier when you said, I've got a question, but I'll answer this one first. Or was it the fact that you just...
It was a dig, mate, but I framed it as a question. I thought I'd be sold.
No. I got it. Don't worry.
All I was going to say, that's out of curiosity, whilst I think I almost fucked off, Bordy, you got to talk about Langstaff in this bit. Here he is. Let's say we keep Coburn, regardless of what the money is, and Langstaff and this bit don't work out as they probably look odds on to. Neither of them are probably going to cut it at this level, right? With Matthews and Lovelace being young, even if we have Ivanovic and Coburn, do we still need to get another striker next year?
Yeah,
maybe, probably. I think so.
Lovelace at that point, 2.5 million, and you'd go and spend another 1.5 is a lot on someone else. That's a lot of money.
Emil Reese, he's cost nothing, and his best season under Neil. I can get him.
We're getting the money in, though, ain't we? Though, listen, we're getting quite a bit of money in for SA and quite a bit of money in for Fleming.
Reese will cost nothing.
I think we have to come back onto topic and get back onto your tactical formation question, Omar.
No, it's all right. We'll leave it.
We're only 10 minutes out, mate. So we've managed to get it back in.
Mate, I was gonna bring it on to Blackburn anyway. To be honest with you, mate. I think we'll move on to Blackburn, shall we? Because that's the game tomorrow. We've got another half hour to go probably on the show. So Blackburn tomorrow, guys. I mean, they picked up a win last week against Luton, didn't they? I think Valerie Ishmael's been there since February. I think they've won 2 or 3 games under him. A bit of discontent off the field. The Venkies are still in charge of them somehow. I don't know how that's been allowed to happen, to be honest, because it feels like they've been there forever. I remember Sam Allardyce being there and Jason Roberts playing up front for them when they first took over the Venkies logo. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is a long time ago, and Blackburn are still there. And obviously, they're our old nemesis, should we say, what we mentioned at the start of the show. I'll give us some five big stats ahead of tomorrow's clash. Blackburn are unbeaten in the last 8 league games versus Millwall at home. They've won 5. They've drawn 3. Millwall are chasing their first league double over Blackburn when Mickey was born in 1970. It's been 50 years.
It's fucking 75.
He's 15, okay?
Sorry, Frankie.
Do you know what? Before you made that funny comment, Frankie, you look like a child who's just had all his toys taken away Christmas morning, where Omar's reading out the stats. What you're like, that's my job, you cunt. It's my only job, but it's my job.
What am I here?
Blackburn have lost, but this is a good one. Blackburn have lost 32 times on Good Friday, more than any club in the Football League, joint with Notts County. So there's an omen. And we love a Good Friday. We've not lost since 2009 on Good Friday. And to put the form table into the contention, last 10 games, Blackburn have picked up 8 points. We've picked up 19. The joint second best in the league, and they're the worst in the league. Jay, what are you thinking tomorrow, mate? Let's talk about the game in a bit more detail. What are you thinking ahead of the trip tomorrow, and how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I expect the Blackburn crowd are going to, give some stick. They're going to rile them up. It's probably the last hurrah for the gaffer there, and I expect to see a bit of fight out of Blackburn because they always do put up a fight. They're quite good for that. But I just think the momentum we've got, the experience we've got in the staff, the experience we got in the club at the moment, I think we should go and win the game. And I don't think we should go and sit back or play defensive. I think we should go after them toe to toe. And I think we'll ultimately win the game. I think there will be some changes tomorrow. I think for other reasons that will lead us to Monday as well. We have got 2 games in a very short space of time. How he's going to manage that, I'm not too sure. But I expect us to go there and win the game, and I think we will. I really do think we will.
I think they've still got some decent players there, Frankie. Tyree Stolen seems to have been around forever, but he's always been their promising young player. He's now 23 years of age. We was linked with Lewis Travis when Gary Wright was in charge, the midfielder. He's their captain. They've also got decent players. Danny Bath still gets a game. He's 34 years of age. He's been around the block for ages, remember at Wolves as such places. But there's not many players in that squad that stick out as a real threat. But let's remember at the start of the season, they were a side that were flying under John Eustace. And since he left, it's really nosedive. So how are you feeling headed tomorrow, mate?
Yeah, dare I say it, mate, fairly confident, same as Jay. I think you look at their squad, it's a pragmatic side. It's a lot of players that you would fit into a Millwall 11, to be honest. Quite like solid championship operators, but maybe not top end. The last time we played them, they had that way up top. This might be one off, but that's potentially one of the worst performances I've ever seen from a professional footballer. so he'll get one tomorrow. But no, dare I say it, fairly confident. And we owe him one, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We do for sure. And I think that's going to be, as we mentioned earlier on, Mickey, that's part of the incentive, isn't it? To get one over them and put to bed a couple seasons ago, that fatal day on the last day of the season. For me, I'm probably less confident tomorrow than I was for the last couple of games. I don't know why. It's just, I think when we done the predictions last week, where I done the rest of the season, I actually had us draw in this game tomorrow. I'm probably still edging towards that. I'll reserve my prediction just yet. But how are you feeling, Mickey, ahead of tomorrow, mate?
I think it's head is like we're on form, we're going in the right direction. I think it stands out, but heart, that when teams are that shit on paper and everything's weighing up against you, is in your favour, you just know that the Millwall way is it's going to be either, a 93rd minute loss or it's going to be a spanking. But I don't know. I think going into it, maybe with previous, various managers, I'd probably be a little bit more twitchier, but I think we're probably owed it and we're probably, we will nick it. But I am twitchy. I don't think they'd do us like they did before, but I am twitchy because their fan base is in turmoil, their club's in turmoil. You're on on the WhatsApp with the champ group, and they are constantly fucking moaning and groaning and everything else about everything going on there. Someone's put in there that, you know, there's looking at there's going to be a load of fans in ours and it's kicking off, and they're fucking kicking off with everything. So, yeah, I think it's got a recipe that it could go wrong, but I think that the current mentality with the players, I think we probably would be able to, you know, manage it fairly comfortable. And come on, we can't have them ruin our playoff dreams fucking twice now, can we?
We can. If they trust me, we
they
can.
will turn into the new Bradford City for us if they do, wouldn't they?
To be fair, they won't ruin it, but it will make it that little bit harder, especially if Coventry get a result tomorrow.
If we lose another game, if we lose tomorrow, it's over. Let's have it right.
I'm edging towards a draw.
If we lose tomorrow.
I don't know why I'm edging towards a draw. I think I'll take a draw tomorrow and win on Monday. I think that'd keep it enough hope there still. I don't think we need to win 3 games, personally. I think there is enough wiggle room there because there is teams playing against each other. I think West Brom playing each other, Bristol City, I'm pretty sure at some point. There's fixtures in there that will turn it in our favour. It's not every team can pick up maximum points is what I'm trying to get at. So there's some wiggle room.
First hurdle, can you?
You can't. But we've clawed ourselves back into it, haven't we? So
I think we need 9 points. I think we have to get 9 points.
Yeah. I thought it was quite funny that the Albion
that goal difference is a point.
Yeah, the Albion analyst where they literally done all the maths, and pretty much most of the teams can either go up or down. You know, no one is, you know, massively safe. But we're not. And just for those out there who are going, no, you can't go up or down. Leeds ain't going to go down. We're not saying that. What we're saying is that there is a hell of a lot in the team from the bottom.
Everyone's got something to play for.
What could be safe. And yeah, I mean, you're looking and you just go look at the bottom lot and go, Plymouth could be a couple of wins. Plymouth could be well out of relegation, and all of a sudden Oxford's in there. And the same as us, we could suddenly be right in the you know, into the promotion area. If we win the next 3-4 games, we could suddenly be right in the playoff section where 3-4 months ago we thought it was never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I said to Ben the other day when I'd done the show with him, if you haven't listened to that, be sure to check it out. We're clawing out 1-0 wins again, like we did this time last season, albeit in different circumstances. And there's something's got to be said about that, isn't there? About getting over the line and grinding these results out. I mean, what's your take on that, Joe? I think the squad they've got the know-how almost to get over the line these sort of games, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think that we've all said that, you know, no one gets this club more than Neil Harris, and Neil Harris is the only person that really does that at this club. But I think we found the next person who could do that at this club, and we didn't have to look very far. I think Neil has adopted that. Neil clearly understands what this club's about. He clearly gets the relationship between the fans and the players, and he understands that we play a massive part in that. And as long as we're in a game, he'll keep us in a game. As long as we get behind the team, we look at our recent results: Stoke late on, Derby late on, Portsmouth late on. These are games that we're still in it right at the end of the game. We're pushing, and he's not afraid to make the changes. And that has been a real massive mainstay of our season so far, that we can go and nick these 1-0s and see the game out. And it was a testament under Harris that kept us up, and it's a testament under Neil that we could make the playoffs off it. But most importantly, you've had different managers in the hot seat, but it's the players who are delivering it for 2 different managers. So credit to the players for that.
Aren't we the only team what's beaten Leeds,
Burnley,
Blackburn,
and Sheffield United?
Burnley, yeah.
What do we anticipate for the sort of lineup tomorrow then? I think Jay touched on changes, but Frankie, what do you think? Is there likely to be many changes from the starting 11 from last Saturday? So Marku, obviously, probably a high candidate to come out. I guess Coburn comes back in, but will we also see Azeez come into the side? I personally would have him in, but what's your take, Frankie? What kind of team are you expecting tomorrow?
I'll be surprised to see Azeez. I think it'll go with the same. I think it'll go the same back 4 as the last 2 games. I don't see a need to change that. I largely can't see the midfield changing. It wouldn't shock me if he maybe goes with a same starting 11 as Sheffield United.
So you play Cundall again after his performance the other day?
Yeah.
That's where I think Azeez comes in personally. I think Azeez comes in for Cundall, and I think Marku drops out for Coburn. That's personally where I'm going with this. But go on.
I get why. I think the only reason I wouldn't is because I think I'd rather, almost sounds horrible, I'd rather suffer through Condor and be able to bring Azeez on. If you start Azeez and he then breaks up like Negley did the other day, then you've got a massive problem here. So I'd rather stick with Condor, see how he does. He played well against Sheffield United. So let's get him back into the left side of that diamond and then we'll go again.
I just wonder if it's maybe a game for Azeez tomorrow, on the break. Maybe it's a game to put a marker out left. And I don't know. I'm not sure. It's an interesting dilemma to have, isn't it, Jay? How are you edging tomorrow for that sort of lineup?
Yeah, there's a couple of ways I want to look at it. I really like the diamond. I thought the diamond at Sheffield United was, as Frankie alluded to, was so good with having Kundal and Honeyman inverted, and you had Billy at the pivot and Casper at the pivot and fucking hell, the other way around. Billy at the pivot and Casper at the anchor. I thought that was really good because it forced Sheffield United to go down the wing. It forced them down there because we closed it up. I think we'll try and do the same against Blackburn. We'll try and force them to go out wide. They're not really great at crossing the ball. I think they're bottom 4 in the league at getting crosses into the box. And we picked up on that that Sheffield United are not very good at delivering crosses into the box either. I think the inverted diamond is a very, very effective formation because Kundal and Honeyman then can get out wide and you've got 2 up top. So I'd like to see a 4-4-2 diamond. Failing that, if he does really want to change it up, I want to see a 4-3-3 and get Langstaff in there and have a Honeyman, Casper and Billy midfield with Casper sitting with Billy and Honeyman just left and right to sort of get wide, cut inside again, and have Langstaff wide right, Ivanovic left and Coburn centrally. So he's got options, but the back 4 remains the same. It's just whether I would want him to go for a diamond to give really Blackburn only one avenue of attack, or try and get after him and go with a 4-3-3.
This is an interesting one from David Tyler. Bangor Williams apparently is fit for this game. I mean, last couple of home games, Bangor Williams has been coming down to South Lower. I think he's got a family member that work in the kiosk. And as you do, people are asking questions and saying, are you likely to be fit? And he didn't seem as confident from what he was saying. And maybe it's a bit more than that niggle or knock that's been reported about him. I mean, you say he's not going to be fit, Jay. You said, have you heard as much or?
No, I never said he's not going to be fit. I wouldn't play him. Neil said he didn't want to risk Negley. He gave him 15 minutes too long. Didn't really want to play Azeez either, but the need was there. I just think if we've already lost Negley, if we lose Bangor Williams as well, we really are limited then to Imaku and question marks over Azeez. So if we don't need him, don't play him. Let him get 100%. Give him under 21 minutes. It'd be a big ask within 2 days. Maybe he's in the frame for Monday. It would be a good suit to follow with getting Tango and Bangor Williams in for Monday. You've got 2 players you can rest in. So I wouldn't play him. I'd look for the diamond or the 4-3-3 really, and then you don't need him.
Another player, I suppose, Frankie, Aaron Connolly. I think he's likely to feature tomorrow from what I've seen. I mean, there's no player in the mix. Frankie?
Yeah, I think, again, I wouldn't be starting him, but we have got 2 big games coming up, and to be able to get these players minutes and be able to at least incorporate a bit more so they're good to go for Norwich and a little bit of strength off the bench. I think if you look at, I think you touched upon this the other night on your show with Ben, I think Alex Neil did a really good job of that, making a 45-minute game, managing the game for us. I think we won because Alex Neil was the better manager, was able to manage the situation. He's going to have to do the same here this week again. So be it having people like Connolly off the bench could be a bit of an asset and a bit of a trump card.
Yeah, shout out to Andrew Roberts here. Alex Neil has got his subs right. He has to get his subs right tomorrow and at the right time. Did it well against Sheffield and Borough, but not against Pompey. That says Andrew Roberts there. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? He is definitely someone that reads the game, Mickey, and tries to impact it with his subs. And I think Ben summed up to me the other day, Mickey, saying he's very proactive with his subs, not reactive. And that's something it's clear to see, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem what we've had for ages, isn't it? We've always moaned about managers not having a plan B. He seems to have a plan B and a plan C, and he seems to be, what he puts out is the team what basically or is the scenario what he's not playing for yet. So he's playing for that A, B or C, as in a lot of the time in previous managers, Rowie and all that, but literally there was no plan B. But I think he has an idea of what he wants to do, and I have faith in that. And I think that what will happen will happen.
What will happen will happen. Thanks for that wisdom, Mickey.
Well, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Get this
I
time,
mean, go
what will
back-
happen will happen.
Nicky Simpson 2025. What will happen?
No, but going on with what Dave Martin said, I mean, I believe something will happen if we're looking at getting into those playoffs, because the FA will be the Premier League will be shitting a brick. The FA will probably be going, actually, let's get rid of Millwall, push, let's go. But I think the Premier League, mate, there is carnage. I mean, fuck me. Can you imagine us? Can you imagine realistically if we get to the Prem? Every game with VAR, we'll be in the papers every weekend.
We'd run out of money from fines.
Max at the club will have no hair. I think that we would be banning every available fucking newspaper in the country. But for the 9 months or whatever it is we're in the league, we'll be great. And our numbers will go through the roof because everyone from a Premiership club will be coming over and wanting to know what we're saying. And, everyone won't know who we are and want to know about us. But listen, if Trump can say he can make America great again, Millwall will make football great again. Millwall will make football great again.
Starmer will shit himself when we go up. Yeah, imagine that. I mean, just so I want to, before we get on to the score predictions, I started this a little earlier, but I did see it during the week. I think it's something noteworthy to touch on. Adam Malachi played in the under-21s this week. I think that's a nice welcome sight to see. Obviously, he got injured out in Mercia and he's made his return. So I think hopefully that's someone else as well. We talk about the left-back position. I mean, you never know, Frankie, do you? I see you nodding there. I mean, it's a big injury he had, but it's nice to see him come back into the fold in a sense.
Yeah, 1,000%, mate. I don't know if any of you went to the game, but do you remember the World Cup year we played Brøndby in a mid-season friendly, didn't we? Him and Esse both played. Adam Malachi was one that stood out in that game. He was incredible, and his deliverance was ridiculous. So, if he can get back into the fold, get back fit, that's a proper prospect coming through. So, exciting times. He got injured at the worst possible time, didn't he?
Yeah, he signed a new contract as well, didn't he, Jeff, if I'm not mistaken, in the summer. Then he got injured and kind of set him back a bit. Will we see him at the player he's meant to be? Who knows, I suppose, but time will tell.
Yeah, look, you've got to see what you've got in him at the moment. I mean, I do think as Millwall fans, we're quite guilty of overselling a player to be good just because they're young and they can kick a ball straight. I think we're pretty good at doing that with some players. So we don't actually know how good he is. So we'll have to pump the brakes a bit. We had a good successful loan with old Stevie Morrison at Sutton. And he's back now. He's played for the under-21s. He looked good in pre-season against Charlton, really good. So yeah, let's see what we got in him. This is the beauty. We've got to get Massey, Kelly, Malachi, Grant, who's out on loan at Bromley, and that as well. You've got to get these guys some game time and see what we've got to assess if we actually need replacements, because they could already be here.
Definitely. Well, the comments on the screen there, guys, and the comments are starting to flood in from everyone. Get your score predictions in for tomorrow's game then, please, everyone. And they're all coming through. We'll read them out in a second. Mickey, I'm going to come to you first, mate. Let's throw you into the deep end. What's your score prediction for tomorrow, mate?
22-0 Langstaff to score rule. No.
Bet, by the way, we need to determine what you guys want to
25 goals.
Still have 25 goals for the season. Yeah,
I've not said he will get 25 goals this season, so don't panic there. I
think you said 17. I actually remember 17 because you said about his shirt number. I remember so he scored 16 tomorrow.
I'm going to go. Do you know what? Okay, I'm going to go. I was going to go 1-0, but I think I'm going to go 2-1.
Okay. Goal scorers? Come on.
Serve and Cooper.
Love it. I'll get on the Cooper bet tomorrow after that. Frankie, what's your prediction for tomorrow's game, mate?
2-0. I'm going to go Joe O'Brien again. Backed him last week. He let me down, but I'm going to go him again. And, second. I don't know. Honeyman. Fuck it.
Ooh, why not? I'll read some of the comments before I come to you, Jay. We've got 1-1 from Daily Millwall, 3-0 from Kevin Millbrook, 2-1 from Dean Bennett, 1-0 Wall Ivanovic, 1-0 again from Gaz. That's Gaz and Chris there. 2-0 from David Martin, the big fucking Serb, and Brian. 1-0 Wall from Peter, another 1-0 from Terms X, 2-0 to us from David Turner, 2-1 Millwall, Cooper, and the big fucking Serbian. I just say we win tomorrow, says Steve. Me too, Steve. Please. Hearts says 2-0 to Arsenal. Beat from Andrew Roberts. 2-1 win, Crouch and Cooper from Diggs. 2-0 Wall from Tony W. This is harder to predict for me, but I'd probably go 1-1 with Coburn. And let's not lose from the Lion Blue. I think I'm edging towards them too, to be honest, as I've touched on. But Jay, give me your prediction, please, for tomorrow's game.
I think we'll win 3-0. I think it'll be quite comfortable. I don't know why, and I'm never normally like this at an away game. But I do look. I think we'll win 3-0. I think Coburn will get a brace, and I'll leave it up to interpretation for who gets the third. I won't be picky.
Do you know what? As much as I want to go and say, please just win 3 or 4-0, I just think I can't. I think it's going to be a tough game tomorrow, and I think we've all done that thing where because we've thrived on being the underdog in recent weeks, and we've strung them 3 wins together. Part of me does wonder, can we continue that?
Listen, Omar, I wouldn't be like you tomorrow, mate. I wouldn't be leaving my house at 8 o'clock in the morning for a 5-hour drive if I didn't think we was going to win 3-0.
Well, but like, you know, go on, Mickey.
I have to ask, Andy Roberts, are you the Andy Roberts, or are you just someone who likes Andy Roberts and used his name? I just wonder, and also I've got to do her, Louise, 2-1 Millwall, only because she's the only woman who's made a comment. So I've got to do our bit. We need to tick the box for diversity. So
Andy Robertson said no, by the way, in retaliation to that. That is his real name. Don't. Why has he stolen his name? It's his real name.
No. Right? So are you? So you are the real? Are you?
No.
Are you? Oh, he's not. Obviously, said no.
Okay. He's a real Andy Roberts.
He's an Andy. It's quite a common name.
It was only the
diminishing
the old picture.
You probably are, Andy.
Yeah. Got some more predictions here before I come to mine. 3-0 from Kevin again. Like I said, 3-0 Big Serb hat trick from Bazza on comment on X. If you comment on X, we do get your comments on here. So please be sure to add some more if you're listening or watching. The dream continues. 3-1 Wall, Big Serb brace, and Coburn. I'm gonna say a 1-1 draw tomorrow. Do you know what? I hope we feel like I want us to win. I hope we win. I just think it's going to be a tough game tomorrow. And do you know what? I don't think getting a point tomorrow is the end of the world. I think if we get a point tomorrow and get Norwich at home on Monday, who we normally go all right against at home, never away from home, I fancy us with getting 4 points and winning against Swansea, making it that kind of fun trip up to Burnley on the last game of the season. That Mill Podcast mega bus is incoming soon, and then that journey up would be interesting.
If we get to the Prem, we'll do a coach every fucking game. We'll do a Millwall Podcast coach to every fucking game, regardless if we're playing fucking West Ham. We'll go by coach just for the hell of it, just for the fucking pure piss take content idea. So that'd be so funny, wouldn't it?
I think, Burnley sold out yet from Daily Mail. I saw that going around today, but I think they've only been sectioning blocks out. I don't think Burnley sold out just yet.
We're going to get initial. They've already said that we'll get our allocation stages.
But there's 986 of us going up there tomorrow. If you're up there, please be sure to say hello if you see us. It is 4:30 in the morning, the coach to Burnley. I think the club missed the trick a little bit, just putting it out there for tomorrow's game. We've only got 986 going. A lot of people thinking, could have and should have took more. Trains are...
Yeah, that really annoyed me.
Weekend, but
really annoyed me, that did.
Still 1,000 of us go in. It's not bad, is it, Jay?
Yeah,
but maybe the club could have done a bit more.
And the fans as well. Go on, Mickey.
That's what you get for having a shit fucking supporters club who sits there and communicates. Because I'm telling you now that if we had a fan group and we decided to thingy, we would petition and say to them, right, we want this, work out, subsidise this much, we'll run this many coaches and sell them. And then we would bring it to the fans and then the fans would back it. The problem is that the MSC come out and go, we've put on 5 coaches for fans. No one would fucking do it because they'd think it's coach one. Us with that banging DJs on and fucking strippers to lot. Do you know what I mean?
What's more annoyed me is that obviously like me and Omar and many up and 900 are making the trip up to Blackburn tomorrow. And they've put the Burnley tickets out and forced some fans to make a decision. Now, the Burnley game, everyone's going to sell that because that game might mean something. But I want the games that we need to win for that game to mean something to be packed out in the first place. That's the whole point. I want Blackburn to be packed out and, the next away games because Burnley won't mean nothing if it's not. And I feel like they've made fans make a decision: do I travel to Blackburn or do I travel to Burnley? It's one or the other. And I think Blackburn suffered, and this is the game that ultimately will help decide whether Burnley matters in the first place. You know,
and it's not a criticism either. I just think,
it's not a criticism.
Could have been more done to get more up there, I think. And there's a comment there actually from Diggs here saying, I said from the start, I would have gone if we had to travel. I know the club's argument would be there is a coach, but I think they've only put one coach on.
Yeah,
and
but they only put. Listen, I listen. In case anyone didn't know, I was fan on the board, right? And I've organised games with coaches and fucking things, and I've looked at special trains and everything else, right? The problem is, right, and I have to say, the problem is, Millwall fans do not go by coach. And
but Mickey, I'd argue it's also half term. Kids and families will go on coach.
Yeah, but kids and families were good. But if they wanted listen, if enough people paid for a coach and it filled, Millwall would put another coach on. They've always done it. So everyone going, oh well, it's not fair. You ain't put enough coaches on. Fucking buy a coach ticket. They'll have enough coaches because they just keep selling them. So they'd sell them in the blocks. If you know, and realistically, if we're only taking one, it's because 50, 60 people wanted a coach. Everyone else is going by hook or by crook because most fans don't want to be stuck on a coach. And realistically, do you want to be leaving early? You know, that's the problem. A lot of people don't like travelling by coach. A lot of people like you, Omar, go by your own vehicle. Jay, you go by your own car because you can control your view. The police have fucked up coaches so badly now. It's unbelievable. You can't stop off in anywhere without designation. The police know exactly where you're going, what you're doing. You can't drink on a coach. You can't do anything else on a coach. It's fucking. It's policed by people on the coach. It's not what it used to be. So it's too much aggro, really.
Well, we're only around the corner tomorrow anyway, so we might have to stay up there, and that negates the whole trouble, doesn't it?
Andrew Roberts here. Are you the Andrew Roberts? Firstly, and Mickey, we need a Johnny Boys out into an away game. Says Andrew Roberts. But are you the Andrew Roberts, Mickey? Andrew as well, by the way.
For anyone,
Andy
else
Roberts used to play for us. Yeah,
I know, mate. I know. We all got it. We all.
And it was only the reason I asked is because he's got an old picture of a player in his fucking profile picture. That's why I asked.
Andy Roberts.
No, I know him. I know he weren't there. It was just fucking asking a question. Listen, you've been a prick all fucking season. Now don't fucking. Do you know what I mean?
Frankie, you got points to make. Go on, mate.
No, I was just going to say, for anyone else that's playing Mickey Bingo, the only thing left on your card is it is what it is. And then,
I've already said that.
Oh, no, he didn't say it is what it is. He said, what will happen will happen.
Well, yeah.
Which isn't the same. It's close, but it's not the same.
Close enough.
What's done is done.
It is what it is.
And what will happen will happen.
Right.
Before we wrap up, we need to decide what your bet is for Langstaff. What was the? So I'll tell you what. I'll make the bet. So the bet is the bet in question is Kevin Nisbet is Jay will score more goals than Macaulay Langstaff in a Millwall shirt next season. Is that fair? Because
I'll take that bet all day long.
Yeah. Mickey thinks Langstaff will score more than Nisbet, and Jay thinks Nisbet will score more than Langstaff next season. Right? So what's the bet? Come on, Frankie.
One minute. Those of you in the chat, just tell us who you are, really, what player you are. Go on, put it in the chat. Might as well let's see how much comical you are and how many of the old players you can name. But we can judge by your age. But come on, instead of that, I'm Tony Cascarino and Cornito. Just go, boff. Go on, let's have it.
Just to make sure we've got the terms and conditions here, Omar.
And make sure you like as well, yeah?
Yeah, like the video.
What happens if both score nothing?
The bet's void, isn't it? I suppose, right?
I kind of win.
In that case, they should both make charity, right?
Yeah. We'll give charity a little drink. Yeah, we're not talking nothing silly. We'll give it a little drink.
We'll give our charity. We'll give to the Win Trust.
The Win Trust, 20 quid each. How about that? 20 quid?
Yeah, I'll do 20
quid.
Yeah.
So if Langstaff scores more goals next season, Jay owes 20 quid to the Charlie Win Trust.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if Nisbet scores more goals than Langstaff next season in the Millwall shirt, Mickey, you owe 20 quid to Charlie Win Trust. Yeah? Happy?
Yeah. Dave Martin, 1992. You're already a fucking football player. You're the bloke who threw the goal. You're the bloke who threw the ball in the net against Brighton. So you didn't need to tell us a football player's name, mate. So yeah.
No, it's actually Cody. Like that.
Allegedly.
Remember that, cunt.
What Ben May with toilet seat out there, I don't know. Right, that's it. It's the end of the show, isn't it? I think. Frankie, thanks for being on tonight. Frankie, thanks for being on tonight, mate.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
John.
It's been a fun show, isn't it? Jay, thanks for joining us tonight, mate.
Yeah, thank you, chaps. Omar, if I see you up there tomorrow, mate, I'll come and obviously loiter. But yeah, no, safe journey to you, mate. Safe journey to everyone travelling up there tomorrow. Let's get a win.
That's it. And I'm going to let it is what it is. Lead the show out, mate. Go on, lead us out.
I listen. Thank you very much for watching us. Thank you very much for being involved. It's an absolute pleasure to have 4 of us here today.
That's been a big card, isn't it? Let's be honest. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great one and much appreciated to you boys for all the effort and hard work you've put in this season. And I know that Jay is going to say, but I've been ill a lot of it this season. But, you know, he'll be back next season unless Jesus gets his way. But
he's winning.
Yeah, no, look, thank you. Thank you for everything. Remember, we are the most interactive, non-stuck up show out there. You don't have to have you don't have to have 40,000 fucking subs to come and comment on our shows. And also, we know that Omar is a cunt. So, other than that, thank you.
I am Stern John.
Let's end it.
Oh, giddy up and get away. Oh, we're going Millwall and we're going today. Here we go. Rocking all over the